pushing P. That's what's going
So
on.
the needle drops. Anthony Fantano called it one of the worst performances in SNL history. Pitchfork labeled it as one of the best. I don't know that for fact. If you're from Atlanta, you likely stand it. Thought it was a wonderful show of Southern rap. If you're from the North, you probably didn't understand what Pushin' P is, what it represents. Who is P? What are they pushing? We're talking about Gunna and Future's SNL performance last Saturday on the SNL hosted by Jared Carmichael, which is Gerard. Y'all say Gerard, I say Jared. So I don't know how we know is true. Which one is it?
It's definitely Gerard.
Okay,
I think he says Gerard. Yeah.
Okay, so Gerard.
You guys think he's funny? You think he's funny?
Yeah.
Okay, wow, I'm not. Yeah, dang. We didn't even. We're not gonna have Gerard catch a stray because
I was just asking.
about-
I think he's funny too. I agree. I was just asking.
But Future and Gunna they performed at SNL. I guess Gunna was the actual performer, but him and Future did a couple tracks together. They did one of which was Pushin' P, and that performance has kind of gone viral in essence because people have some strong reactions to it. Nnamdi Fantano, who called it one of the worst performances ever, which feels kind of harsh after watching it again. Still feels kind of harsh. But what were you guys' takes on watching that performance? And did any of you watch it live?
No, I watched his video and I was like, surely it can't be that bad. And then I watched the performance and it was pretty bad. So
give us the essence of why it's bad. Describe the performance for those who may not want to interrupt their watching of this episode to go find the YouTube link of that performance.
it's just like the part that struck me is there's a moment where neither of them are rapping and they just stand there and like they have zero stage presence. The only thing interesting happening on stage is the lights, which admittedly were very cool. But just like the lack of stage
better
presence.
than the Stone Mountain light show, if you ask me.
It's just the lack of stage presence, the song just not being that interesting. There was a combination of things that just made it very bad, and like honestly kind of laughable.
So, actually, no, you go ahead. You go ahead, Noah.
Honestly, like I don't know what people wanted to expect. Like I don't know. I just like you said lack of stage presence. Like that's just what they're like. They're just like gonna say Pushin' P.
You know what
They're
I mean?
gonna
It's
be
like
really
go girl. You know what I mean? It's like go girl, give us nothing. That was them.
I don't know.
I hate when people defend things that aren't great as well. That's just them. That feels so toxic.
No, I agree.
It's just like in any capacity.
No, I agree.
So toxic.
I agree, but it definitely wasn't like it just I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I just don't expect anything from those guys. Like I just like it was bad. That's them. It's like when people like if people say, man, this Gunna album sucked. I'm like, what'd you expect? It's like I don't know, man. That's just me. That's how I feel.
I thought DS4 was kind of good. Okay, well, I think
definitely some bangers on there.
My thing with it is like I just didn't think it was as bad as people thought, partially because of what Noah's saying. They're not performers; they're rappers. Like I don't know if you necessarily go to them to give you an amazing live performance. That being said, I think as a rapper who does live performances, maybe put a little bit more effort into it.
But I don't even think Gunna's that good of a rapper anyway. So
there's some people who would burn you at the stake for saying that.
Well, it's true. I mean, I don't.
Wow. I think I agree. I think Nnamdi said that they could have some dancers. They could have some.
That's what I'm saying.
From Atlanta. They run the strip club singing in Atlanta.
Yeah, put a pole in the middle of the stage. Get more creative with it. But it shouldn't have just been, two guys standing there with this incredible light show behind them, but literally just standing there doing a little 1-2 piece. And mind you, the song is only like a minute, 2 minutes.
2 minutes, barely.
Verse. Young Thug wasn't there, so the full performance is like a minute and a half, and it's just them literally just rocking back and forth. But again, I didn't think it was like one of the worst performances ever. I just wish they could have invested a little bit more into the instead of the light show we get 6 dancers.
Did y'all know they had a music video for this song? Yeah. And nobody talks about the music video because they're literally just standing there too. It's just them just standing there walking around. It's like not even an impressive music video.
I think it's up to us to raise the expectation for what these rappers do. Even if you can't dance, y'all need to do more to entertain us because this is kind of
at least have more there, which I guess what the light show was. But
I don't know if
I can say it was like I don't know if I can say it was one of the worst ever because I haven't watched everyone, but I
guarantee there's a worse one where they're like
I can confidently say that was one of the most uninteresting.
I mean, Ashley Simpson's performance still exists, where she got caught lip syncing and then did like
and Lana Del Rey
dance.
So
We need to do one of the worst like awkward live TV performances. Honestly, that wasn't awkward. That was just like not good. But like,
It's just not good.
It was just stiff. They're just stiff. And
yeah,
I mean,
stiff.
I honestly look at Future more because I'm like, Future,
Yeah,
you've
it's
been
like,
in
what's
the game for
Future
like
doing?
10, 12 years. Like, what do we do? You still can't give me a 1-2 step on the stage.
It's Future. Like, you should,
Bad song choice.
Boom cack, like nothing at all.
Is it a bad song choice?
No, because Push and P is like a fun, high energy song that went viral. They just should have like. I don't know if they just didn't care to put as much effort into it.
Young Thug
dodged a bullet by not being there. So
he should have been there. He would have brought some energy.
All three, they would have at least been, like.
Yeah.
Are you doing that day?
Push and P.
Man.
They could have given us a little bit more. Anyway, I guess the takeaway from today's intro is, we love our rappers, our trap rappers, but give us a little bit more on the stage because. Now, like, I'm not gonna want to go to a Gunna show because
it's like just do better. Just do better.
First of all, the lights hurt my eyes, and then second of all, give me a
Wait a
little
second.
bit more.
Did y'all plan on going to a Gunna show before this?
I mean, if Gunna was at a festival and I was at the festival, I'd watch.
Oh yeah.
Y'all need to understand. Gunna has a huge base. Like, that's
for
one of the
sure.
top selling rap albums this year. So people are gonna
absolutely.
I just want them to get more bang for their buck. That's all.
Absolutely.
On that note, welcome to the 97 Demo Podcast, where we talk the latest in music news, headlines, releases, and a whole bunch more along the way. I'm one of your three hosts, Nnamdi Egwanwu, joined by
Noah McGee,
Avery DeWalt.
And this is an episode that we were supposed to do last week. It's our monthly review roundup, our March review roundup. Of course, last week was all about the Grammys, so we ended up doing a live reaction to that, and we decided to just bunt this episode to this week since it actually tends to be one of our more popular releases every month. Y'all seem to like it. So we'll be talking 4 albums: Moto Mami by Rosalía, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future by Denzel Curry, I Know Nigo, I Know...
You got it right. You got it.
I Know Nigo by Nigo, and Crashed by Charli XCX. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we have to start with the headline that I think was just everyone was talking about it. Was it like a day after the Grammys, maybe, or 2 days after the Grammys? Kanye says he's pulling out, or Coachella announced that Kanye dropped.
Yeah.
The reporting around that being that allegedly Kanye never really took it seriously to begin with. There wasn't any kind of big rehearsals. There wasn't really that much like of a dialogue. Drops out a month before. The Grammys are stressed. I mean, the Coachella is stressed looking for a replacement, and they land on The Weeknd with Swedish House Mafia, who I feel like Swedish House Mafia.
They were on the song. They did a song with Weeknd. Remember?
They did a song, but I think they were already gonna perform in some capacity. Like
they
I
were
feel
gonna
like I
be
saw their
on.
name on a.
They were gonna be on Friday, but then they pushed them to Sunday because they had a song together. So they were on Friday.
It's Take My Breath Away, right? Or is it another one?
What'd you say?
Is it not Take My Breath Away? Is it another one?
No, it's Take My Breath.
Okay.
No, it's a different song.
No, Moth to a Flame. Sorry. It's
Moth to a Flame.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But they were gonna perform Friday, but they moved it to Sunday because Weeknd and them have the thing together. So yeah.
I just feel like this makes a lot of sense. But the something I can appreciate that me and Avery have been talking about is Kanye was going to be getting paid around $8 million, $8.5 million to perform. And that was widely reported as, Kanye just left all this money on the table. I guess someone in the Weeknd's camp got wind of it and they said, look, I want that exact same check. I don't care if you don't think I'm Kanye West. I don't care if he's been in the game a decade longer. But if y'all want me, and he left y'all a month before this performance, y'all are here desperate, sweating, trying to find a good headliner, then run me my money. You already had it in the budget. It was already allocated. Run me my money. Gosh, y'all think about that. $8 million plus $500K just for production. Hell yeah, give me that too.
I agree. Weeknd should get that. But did y'all also see who was gonna replace Kanye? Like who they were considering? Like, who Silk Sonic? They were considering them, but they said they didn't have enough time to prepare. I think Justin Bieber might have been one of the replacement thoughts, and Travis Scott, which is interesting because remember he dropped out because
Travis Scott. I don't believe
that.
Where's the source?
That was in the team. That was in the reports. They were saying Travis Scott was considered TMZ. TMZ. They were like Travis Scott was considered, and it's crazy because in their Astroworld thing, he dropped out totally. But they said they considered him again, but he said no.
I think no. I think what it is what I've seen. Wait, that's just I don't know if I can believe
that's in the TMZ reports. I mean, I wrote about it.
I'm trying to find the TMZ report because I'm trying to.
It's kind of crazy too because when they announced The Weeknd and when The Weeknd had tweeted out the lineup with his name on it, they hadn't officially come to a deal yet.
Sorry, Travis Scott was supposed to join Kanye on stage.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I have not seen Travis was supposed to replace or was considered as one of the replacements, because that would be wild. That would be, I wouldn't have been mad at it. Wouldn't be mad, but that, that would have been kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think it would have been weird too.
Sorry, Avery, what were you saying?
I was just saying that when they had tweeted out the lineup with The Weeknd's name on it, like officially announcing him, there was not a deal in place yet.
Which is
crazy. And like The Weeknd was threatening to pull out like with an hour's notice is what the
That's
Page
crazy
6 article says.
The first time I heard about it was when Weeknd tweeted it out.
Yeah.
A lot of people, that's when
final
most people did.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Crazy. So
apparently The Weeknd and the Red Hot Chili Peppers were two of the people at the top of the list too.
Oh yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
At the time, yeah. Which is yeah, they initially wanted Silk Sonic. I see that. Yeah, that's crazy. But Kanye, I feel like when he had that whole Billie Eilish thing, by then I was kind of over it. But either way, I think this makes sense. I'm happy The Weeknd was able to finagle his way into that fat check, because Avery, like you were saying, I think there was definitely strategy behind leaking it before this, the contract was signed, so maybe so the public, everyone sees that we're all excited, because The Weeknd's someone who I think makes sense for a Coachella set, especially with this new pop wave he's in.
Yeah, and he had all the leverage.
And because he's going on tour with Doja, I'm sure he already has an entire set constructed that he can just perform.
Avery, you were wondering if Silk Sonic can carry a show?
I was thinking, well, initially I was thinking like by themselves, and then I was like, oh, they probably just play their own songs as well.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was
that's
like,
what I was gonna say, but them as like a light tip couldn't. But so is it? I mean, yeah, but I guess they each have their own discography. I get what you're saying. That album was 8 songs.
At first, I was like, no, and then I was like, wait, Bruno Mars is there. So
yeah, exactly. That's all.
I was like, I forgot Bruno Mars is part of it.
Yeah,
and Anderson .Paak still got his arsenal of.
He has a little thing. Avery act like he would have been excited for Anderson .Paak.
I don't know. I absolutely would. I was just thinking. I was naive. I was like, oh yeah. They're two both amazing artists.
I mean, I don't know. For me though, I do think considering that crowd, I think The Weeknd would have been a better.
Good point.
But
Good point.
But okay, I guess let's move on to some of the new releases that came out over the last week. Some of the standouts were Vince Staples put out another album because that boy has been working. Ramona Park Broke My Heart. We also had an album from 5 Foreign, Jack White, Sid of the Internet, and then some singles from Jack Harlow, B and J. Cole, Pusha T, Pharrell and Jay-Z, Chloe. What were you guys listening to?
Noah.
All I listen to is Vince Staples, man. I really enjoy this album. I don't know, man. Somebody tweeted this, and it's like it's kind of awesome that like Vince Staples and like it's in the middle of his prime, and he's like putting out some great work. And maybe not on the same level as like an artist like Tyler, who we talked about, who's been like on a great album run. Maybe not on that level, but like from FM to last year's album to this one, I think he's been on a little run. This is like his best little run of like music he's put out, in my opinion. And I really enjoy this album, man. He has I know he didn't see on the last album, but he has catchy hooks. Like on FM, he had like some catchy hooks on there, and on this one, he has catchy hooks too. And man, Vince gets deep, man. That man gets deep on these albums. But
how would you say sonically this compares to the Vince Staples self-titled album from last year?
It's still really chill. He's still in that really chill vibe. But I think he has more like it's more hooky. Like there's more hooks on here. Because on the last one, there wasn't a lot of hooks. It'd be him just like saying the name of the song or something like that. But this one, he has more hooks, like Lemonade, obviously Magic. That was a single he released. Paper Cuts, that was another one. So Lemonade, I feel like is the one that could be like a single, another single too, because it has like who's that? Ty Dolla $ign. Yeah, and that one's really good. But yeah, man.
But he still feels very like West Coasty, California.
Really? Oh my! And I love that. Like yes, DJ Quick. Oh man, I love that. Oh, I love that. The last one didn't feel like as West Coast, even though obviously Vince is gonna bring that. But this one's like super West Coast, and I love it personally.
I wonder who produced it. Do you know? Let me see.
There's multiple producers, but I think obviously Kenny Beats had heavy production on here again. Let me look up the
Mingo. Someone named Mingo worked on it. Producer named Mingo. Shout out Mingo. Doing your thing.
Whoever Mingo is. Shout out to you.
Lakeen Taylor. I wonder if that's. I don't know who that is. Okay, but I always now that
I enjoyed it.
It clicked in my brain that whenever there's a song that I really like because of how it sounds, I should probably credit the producer more than the.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oops. Okay. Avery, what about you?
There's this new Maggie Rogers song called "That's Where I Am." I'm obsessed. It is so good. Yeah, I've been a fan of Maggie Rogers in the past. Like, not like a huge fan, but I've liked her stuff. But I don't know. There's something different about this song. It's more like it's just a banger. Like, it's so good. So I love it.
This one is tough for me because there were so many songs I liked, but I think I have to go with "London" by BFB J. Cole because that song's a hit. That's kind of I can already the new season of Top Boys on Netflix. You know, if you we about to be back in our Black UK back in it.
Bruv, hey brother,
over here, bruv. And London is a perfect soundtrack. You feel to help me stay calm because
How do you feel about J. Cole doing a little British thing on there? Like he had.
I like accent. if Drake could do it, why can't J. Cole do it? And I think it works because the song is called London, and it's just the way their like verses are structured. It is a really catchy.
I agree because he doesn't abuse it. Go ahead.
This is the second song that J. Cole's featured on called London.
Oh yeah, the London.
Oh yeah,
with
the London with Travis Scott.
Oh wait, right? Wasn't Young Thug called that? Yeah.
Oh for real? Oh, I don't remember that.
Dang. You can meet me in the London.
That song's a hit. I liked it.
Okay. Well, they're both hits, and I feel like I just want to shout out Bia because I remember Bia's last album when that came out last summer. I was a big fan of that, and she had that song Besito with G Herbo that I like. But she's now has features with like J. Cole, Nicki Minaj, G Herbo. Like she's collecting a wide array of really big features for someone who really only sort of burst onto the mainstream scene like a couple years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, which is crazy because I feel like she's been around for a minute. Because she was signed to Pharrell's imprint like a while ago, and I was like, where has she been? Because I remember on other stuff, but like it's pretty good to see her in the last couple of years to kind of pop off. That just speaks to like how long it can take to like get something going and get some traction. Yeah,
Doja was on her third album by the time
I agree.
Like popped, But
I feel like even Bia's been out longer because she was on that Sisterhood of Hip Hop. Remember that reality TV show? I think Bia was on that. Remember that show? Do y'all remember that show?
I remember the show. I don't remember Bia.
I'm pretty sure Bia was on that show.
That's crazy. But
yeah, she was. She was on it.
Like a super long time sometimes.
Yeah.
But respect to the people who maintain the work.
First two
she
seasons.
got signed. She got signed in 2014. So like, yeah, it can take a minute.
Yeah, I agree.
I also want to ask y'all about "Treat Me" by Chloe because I like that song. I was a fan. I like Chloe's new single she's been doing. This song felt very like I can tell she's probably trying to find the one that like this pops because this feels like it could be it. I get surprised every time she puts something out and people aren't talking about it more. I'm like, this is catchy. I don't get why this wouldn't be like.
Honestly, I'm just wondering where the album is.
She's not gonna do. They're gonna do singles for a minute.
You think so? You think they're?
Yeah.
So one single this year. Last year, another one this year, and then like another one.
Ideally, they want to look at Normani. I think ideally they want to do singles, show that she can do it. Like maybe find one that really takes off before announcing like a full blown.
Trying to show improve. Yeah, for sure. Good point. Yeah, I thought it was good.
It was really good.
I thought it was fine. Yeah. Chloe has a lot of enthusiasm, man. A lot of charisma.
The video was really good too. Shout out to her.
Yeah, so
she's very talented. So
Beyonce putting her to work, man. You feel me? So
for real.
Yeah. Another song I really liked. I mentioned it to you guys. Taco by IDK. I remember listening to this song. I was like, man, this sounds like a great K Tronada beat. And then I look it up and it's like, oh, by K. It's like, oh yeah, K Tronada Kid. I was like, oh, of course. K Tronada just doesn't miss now. So
this song's a hit.
It's a hit, man. Oh man, yeah, this song's great. I love that song. Taco by IDK. And also, this is random. Schoolboy Q dropped a song out of nowhere. Soccer Dad.
I love that song.
Good.
This is the new direction Schoolboy is taking. I am here. It's just so groovy and kind of like has a funk feel to it.
Well, that's another thing too, because he's like in a whole different space now, dude. Like he just did a commercial with Nike with Tiger. I was like, dude, this dude's like on another level now.
He's a dad and he's embracing it. I'm here for it.
He's on his golf tip. Yeah, I'm really excited about what he does next. He feels like he's in a whole nother. No more gangster rap from Schoolboy Q.
This is the type of growth I be wanting to see from Pusha T, but y'all be calling me. But y'all be calling me a hater. That's all I'm saying. Similar path.
Hey man.
Pusha T.
Speaking of Pusha T, I mean this song was cool. It was cool.
I liked it. Pharrell's kind of not missed for me for a minute. Like all the features he's done lately, I've been a big fan of.
Pharrell's like y'all gonna remember. Pharrell's like y'all gonna remember.
And one thing
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say on the song, everyone's like, I saw on social media, everyone's like, Jay-Z goes so hard, Jay-Z, and I listened to the song, and he's like, just very chill.
I was just about to say that. And like his content matter.
What are we talking about?
Him and Nas, it's like they're still, of course, the rappers, but I just sometimes find it funny that the material they're rapping about are things that happened like 25 years ago. And it's like, bro, this ain't a beef that we still
real estate.
He's talking about, people saying that if Biggie was here, Jay wouldn't be it. But if Biggie was here, we would have got the commission. It's like, bro, like I went alive when Biggie got, like rest in peace, Big. But that, it's time, maybe.
Well, that's
I don't know what I expect. It's just sometimes like funny.
That's another thing too. Like, even though I do love Pusha T and all these guys too, like. And I think Pusha T mentioned this when he did his interview with Breakfast Club when that his last album dropped. It's like he makes adult contemporary trap music. Like he makes that trap music for like people in their 40s and stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like people that like you were talking about. I wasn't there for Big. Like even though I do like his music, people that are like older and understand those references, they're like, oh, this is my ish. So like our uncles that are like 35, 40, 45, they're like, oh man, I love this stuff, man. This is heat, you know what I'm saying? Even though we think it's good, they really think it's heat, you know what I'm saying? Because they understand that stuff, those references, so.
And I think that's a really good point. We're not always the target audience, and maybe I'm selfish.
That's the thing. That's another thing too. So. But even though I am a fan of Pusha T, but I feel you, yeah.
It's just so funny. Like, oh, Jay-Z went so hard, and I listened to like Big Pimpin', and I'm like, no, Jay-Z went hard on that song.
Because the song that he's since disowned.
Right. Okay. Yes, but it's one of his biggest hits. And then, but on this song, he's just kind of like talking.
It's Jay-Z. People gonna hype up anything.
Yeah, I love Jay-Z. But...
Jay-Z said, "Man, I sold my Benz." So like, "Oh, you hear him spin that game, man?" He's like, "You hear him spin that game?" I bought $1 billion company. He's like, "Oh, y'all hear him spin that game?"
They're funny, bro.
That black excellence, man. Y'all hear that black excellence?
He had a bar. He was like, "I could put your mansion on my wall."
Yeah, literally.
Oh man. He spin game, man. Y'all better listen. He spin game. What was that? Wasn't that a line on 444? He said, "I'm giving y'all $1 million worth of game for $7.99."
Yeah,
that was a good line.
That was good.
But yeah, that's what people. Jay-Z, man. Jay-Z fans are out of control.
Jay-Z's funny, bro.
He is funny, but he don't even know it.
He really doesn't. But y'all ready for the review roundup?
For the record,
we just straight up didn't even talk about Jack Harlow, but we'll get to him later.
No,
Don't fret. We'll get to him later. It's okay.
See, okay. Ain't no hate Jack.
That's called a deep tease.
Shout out to
But yeah, review roundup time. 4 albums that we have already introduced: Moto Mami, Rosalía, Melt My Ice, Your feature Denzel Curry. I Know Nigo by Nigo and Crash by Charli XCX. We wrote about all 4 of these albums in our last newsletter. So go check that out. If you're more of a reader, not a listener, you can definitely go check that out.
Ooh, I like that. Multi-platform.
Multi-platform. There you go. And you can find our scores there as well, but we decided to bring it to life for you this week. So where are we starting, ladies and gents? I guess we can go in this order.
Oh, what was our first one? I like this.
So I'm so used to having Genius up that this isn't helping me.
I need it. Don't worry.
Nnamdi's like, wait, this is
different. Right, what are we doing? I'm sorry. But anyway, Moto Mami was Rosalía's latest release. Came out March 18th. It's by, of course, the Spanish singer-songwriter. And just 42 minutes of straight reggaeton, full Spanish Latin flavor, some flamenco in there. She really takes you out and about. So what do you guys? I mean, I feel like me and Avery have talked a lot about it, but I'm curious to hear just one. I write about this. I think when you're an album that's a Spanish language album released in an English speaking market, you have this added task of like, how do I get people to like this when they can't really understand what I'm saying for sure? And that really translates to the way your song sounds, not only the production, but like your flows, your structure, the structure of the verses, things like that matter to so much more. And I think that's why I like this album so much, because Rosalía really excels there. Just the way all the songs are like shaped, like the way they're formed, the decisions about when to have the beat drop or to when to have that switch up or to when to, how that verse should sound. All that is brilliant. And it makes it so that even if you don't know what she's saying per se and don't want to do the added task of searching for translations, you can still really, really enjoy this album.
I totally agree. I mean, I think with any album, not every album, but you can be transported somewhere. Like on a smaller scale, like I had Nas-O-Matic as my project of the week last week, and I was like, with that album, it transports me to like New York. And I said this in my newsletter, I was like, with Rosalía, she transports you to some, obviously she's really inspired by like Japanese culture and anime and whatnot, and she transports you to some futuristic thing, and I mentioned Cowboy Bebop because it gives me that kind of feel, this futuristic world where people are traveling from planet to planet, clubbing or doing whatever, what I'm saying? And that gives you the exact type feel, what I'm saying, with this album, which is not an easy task to do. To be like visually transported somewhere and feel like you're in another place is not an easy thing to do, but she does that. Even though I don't know one word she's saying, obviously I've read the translation, but I'm really impressed by her. I'm really impressed by her on some of these songs. Particularly, I don't know if we want to get into songs yet, but yeah, that's my opening thoughts. Like the way she was able to transport you somewhere is really impressive, and not an easy thing to do that a lot of artists can't do, because it's kind of hard to like visually take you somewhere else. But yeah, she did it, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just like the music itself is so interesting, and like she touches so many different like genres, I feel like, throughout this album, to where like the thing that made her popular, being flamenco music, is like really only one of the songs on here, which is like just so fascinating.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
her voice. Oh my god, her voice.
I was gonna ask that.
Amazing.
I was gonna ask that. Yeah, I was gonna ask her. I'd be like, if somebody is like, yo, I'm really interested in getting to Rosalía music, I feel like this isn't the album to get into. Like, this is not the first your intro album you want to like to get a perspective from like what her career has been like. I don't know.
Wow. Her last album was the one that got her like really popular, called El Mal Querer. But I don't know. I feel like this one is the one I would probably recommend.
Yeah, I think I'd probably recommend this. It sounds fun. It's a fun enough.
I agree. I was just gonna ask, like, for somebody that, like, I know, like, for me, maybe this is like, because obviously this is my introduction to Rosalía, but like for somebody that's like, man, what's her music been like? Is this like a good representation of what her career has been like as like music, or is like was she leading up to this?
I don't think so. Like, I think this is the most versatile I've seen her. Like, I guess what she was like really known for prior to this was like modernizing flamenco music.
That's what. So some of the songs are.
Yeah, and taking these like the older classical sounds and kind of like modernizing it with like more like current production, and especially on like El Mal Querer is like telling a story throughout. But this is just like, I don't know, this feels like a really great pop album, I guess.
Yeah, I think she's always been very high concept. Like even that last album, El Mal Querer, was very high concept, and it equally, I think, explored different styles, even though I think it leaned more like flamenco, to your point. But I think on this you still have songs like is Bulerías the flamenco song on here?
Yeah, that's the one I think of.
Yeah, so I think you still get that. I would recommend this honestly, just because like you can get into this easily without knowing anything she's saying, solely on like the energy of it alone, and that's something that I feel instantly stands out to me. I mean, and even just talking about like the style choices here, we can talk about like La Fama, who I grew up in Atlanta, and I grew up around a lot of Spanish-speaking friends. A lot of my friends were from Latin America, very close to all of them. And when I heard La Fama, it made me instantly think of when I went to a quinceañera once, because I was like, this is that kind of music, and it transported me there. And I don't know, I just like the fact that she's able to capture so many different styles, and I think that's bachata music. But so I she was able to capture so many different styles across this like project. And then she has songs like that are very much so reflections of like very popular Spanish and Latin American like sonic styles. And then we also have like Chicken Teriyaki, which is just like a pop, like kind of reggaeton pop song. You have songs like what's another, like Cute, which is like samples that
Cute.
Remember that meme though, like 1, 2, 3 of that man counting? Because
yeah.
That was funny.
He samples that and like it just has fun with it, And then you of course have hentai, which we all talk about. Which, if you know what hentai means, you know what hentai means. It's
one of the most unique songs this year, so far this year.
It's so good.
I love songs that have that like contradict like that.
Well, yeah, I agree, because like when you hear hentai, you're thinking something raunchy, something that's going to be maybe not bombastic, but something that's gonna be
high energy.
Yeah, something raunchy. Yeah, something raunchy. Something really. I'm thinking of like that. This is bad. Y'all gonna laugh at me. Remember that Megan song with that guy where it's disgusting, but it's so bad. Yeah. It's like something like that. Something like.
What's it called? Sexual intercourse? Isn't that what that's?
It's something ridiculous. But hentai is so beautiful. You hear, you're like, man, this is some like I said. I was like, if you hear this and you didn't hear like the name of the song, you think this is some love ballad or something like
Literally,
that. Like
you're gonna put this on your romance playlist, not knowing
exactly.
That you're trying to say, come to the back, let's get this shit on and pop.
Oh my gosh, like if you. Oh my gosh, like if I play with my parents, they'd be like, oh, this is so beautiful. I don't know what she's saying. This is so beautiful. It's like, yeah, just read the lyrics. And it's pretty nasty, but I love that. That's a standout song for sure.
I think for me, it's like I just love songs, or anytime like you can find that sort of like big contrast in a song. So whether it's like super deep lyrics on like a bubble pop beat, or like, like someone screaming over like I don't know, just when emotions clash. And I think this is a good example of that, because you have this slow piano and her beautiful voice that almost sounds like ethereal the whole time. The lyrics of it are just disgusting, and in a good way though. And it's like it just works. It works, and I really easily the standout song for me, easily.
Yeah, I agree. I like the high like energy songs in here, like Sayoko and Chicken Teriyaki, but I think it really shines in like the slower songs, just because like I don't know, I really cannot get over her voice. And this is, I've been a fan of Rosalía for like some years now, and every time I hear her sing and like get into that like really high register, it's just so impressive every time.
Can I be honest real quick?
What?
Although Hentai is one of my favorites because it's slow, when she went slower on some of the songs, but she doesn't do it a lot. But honestly, I wanted her to keep the energy throughout all this, and that's like
I kind of
that's one of my like digs at it. I don't think I mentioned that in my newsletter, but like I don't know, man. I was like, man, I don't need the energy.
Mm-hmm.
I need the energy. I was kind of like on a high, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, she's bringing it. And Hentai is a good one because like honestly, I like that song more of like the concept. The song's great too, but the concept of it is amazing. But like I don't know, I just wanted her to keep the energy, which she did, but the dips in it, and I understand you have to have some variance. I get it. I understand it. It's not a bad thing, but that's one of my personal like digs at the album. I just wanted the energy throughout the whole thing. You feel me? And obviously the last song is one of the things where like it's going down. Obviously it's the last song. We want to bring you down, but that's just one of my digs. But I definitely understand it for people that have found the variance in it and whatnot.
I kind of feel that to a degree. Like I think Como Unji is one song that was I want to say it was that one. I hope it is. That was also kind of slow. And I found I didn't like it as much as I did Hentai. Like of all the slow songs, the one that I really liked is Hentai. I'm not sure there's another slow song that was like
I'm with you.
I can get, that I remember super duper well. But that's not to say that I disliked any of them, just that like the songs that kind of caught my attention a little bit more that on cue I can remember is like Saoko, because I can remember Saoko, Papi, Saoko, like that's easy. Or like even Candy, which I guess was still relatively kind of slower, but also a great song, like La Fama, Chicken Teriyaki. Like you remember the songs that are like that are high energy a little bit more. And I guess that was kind of one critique I had.
Yeah,
I guess another critique is that this was I did a little bit of reading into her interviews, and this was marketed as her most personal album yet. And I think even with the English translations into account and understanding that there may be some nuance lost in it for me,
fair,
it didn't really feel that way. Like,
I'm with you too.
As a super deep, like most personal, and like Hentai as we described it, on our way, it's marketed as like, I know it's like female sexuality and femininity, and it's like, I'm with you. So was WAP, So
I
cool.
agree. I think it's tough because sometimes when we think of, I don't know, Nnamdi, I'm kind of with you on that, because like when we think of like personal, we think of like personal stories, like something really specific. Like if J. Cole tells like, to go back to like something we know, like J. Cole talking about him losing his virginity. That's something I think of like personal, like a personal story that's really specific. She doesn't do that.
I wonder if Hentai may be that, and I just am not picking up.
And maybe, and that's fair, because sometimes and translations can miss some nuance in what she's saying, or stuff like that, which is fair, because we don't know who's actually doing these translations, like if they know the exact everything she's saying. But I don't know. That's fair, but maybe Avery, maybe you could speak better to this. But how's this album compared to her other albums in terms of like her being personal, from like what you've read from like English translations, obviously?
Honestly, I don't really come
at it. I don't care.
I don't really come at it like that sort of critique, because like when I'm listening to it, I'm not trying to like
translate
decipher what she's saying while she's saying
fair.
it. I'm just kind of listening to it as like a sound.
Kind of lost. That's fair.
Yeah, and I think this one feels more accessible than her other albums, just because like Nnamdi said, how high concept the other albums were. And
do y'all like the Weeknd feature?
I love
yeah,
it.
like the Weeknd feature.
Really
There's
good.
like James Blake shows up on this thing. Like
really?
Yeah, on Diablo.
Credited vocals on
Diablo.
Yeah, but
like,
he wrote on a lot of this, and he Come On G as well. He wrote on that.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. And Pharrell, I think, has a hand in some of this.
Yeah, he
too.
did.
Like,
he did the title track, right? Title track.
And he helped produce Right, and the Neptunes produce Hentai.
Dope.
And I think Spike Jonze directed the video for Hentai. I think there's like the collaborators she has on here are very like really cool.
Crazy.
And I feel like coming from it from like the way I like to listen to like I guess music that of the lyrics I don't understand is just like I really have no notes for this album.
That's fair.
I genuinely very love this album.
I was a fan of so let's go ahead and talk our scores since luckily we already have them, so don't gotta think live. I gave it an 8 because again I was very impressed by the album. I'm learning that a 9 and a 10 are just very, very high marks to get, and I feel like they're almost rare, but this is a very good album. I had, my little bits of notes, but I think I enjoyed it a lot. So that's why I went ahead with the 8.
Yeah, I give it a 9 because it reaches those bars for me. I think it has like variants of sounds that just like I can listen to in really any mood. And I think the fact that she was able to achieve that is just so impressive. I can't think of one song I don't like on this album. So that's
good. Hey, Nnamdi, I'm with you too. Like the album really has to blow me away. I think 7's a little harsh. I think 7.5 is better because I'm not as high as Nnamdi and Avery, but I do think I'm really impressed by her. And I said this too. It's not like something I could see myself going back to, but I'm so impressed with what she's doing, which I'll discuss. Like it's kind of a relation to like what Charli XCX did, like in opposite way, which we'll talk about. But I'm so impressed with what she did on here. So I'm gonna give it a 7, but I think 7.5 is maybe more appropriate. But I'm gonna stick to a 7 though. Stick to our score.
Our combined score would be.
And I like our score 8 out of 10. I like that score. I like 8 out of 10 as a score. I really think that's a fair score for us. I think that's good. That's not. I don't want to give it away, but I think that's a good score.
Yeah.
And Nnamdi, how do you feel about the score? I know you're big on like the overall score. Like how we.
An 8.5. I kind of wish it was an 8.5 average,
really?
But it's like I mean a 7. You said it yourself. I think a 7's a little bit too low for me. But I kind of felt harsh with my 8. But I think that's a fair score. See, we all have. That's what makes the beauty of the pod. Like we bring our own unique minds and. For sure.
Scoring's tough, y'all. Scoring's tough. It's not easy.
Yeah. I guess the second project on our list is Melt My Eyes, See Your Future by Denzel Curry. I want to say this is his third album?
Third, I think.
Wow. Let's look it up.
Third. I'm fairly confident it's third.
I don't know, man. He has a lot.
I know, but some people be having mixtapes and EPs.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know.
Like his 5th, maybe technically.
His 5th. Okay. Yeah, 3.
He has a lot.
Excuse me.
He has a lot on Apple Music, but I don't know what he counts as like an official.
I'm gonna say it's his 5th. Oh. It's his 5th album by Denzel Curry, which is sort of insane because for some reason Denzel Curry is one of those artists that's been out for a while, but in my head it just doesn't register as long as it's been. Because Ultimate was all the way back in 2015. I had to remind myself of that the other day. But anyway, he came with Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, which is a much more, I feel, toned down Denzel Curry than what you may be accustomed to. And it's he, in his own words, says it was inspired by what's going on in the world and films by infamous Japanese director Akira Kurosawa. That's actually very fascinating. And
Japanese
I don't know,
influence here.
Yeah, a lot of Japanese influence, but. I'm interested to hear what you guys thought about this project. I know how I felt. I saw on Twitter before I even listened a tweet I saw from my Kanye West Stan account that asked you guys about off pod was someone saying Denzel's album is what I always wanted a J. Cole album to sound like, and I was like. Now and then, I think that was kind of hate, but I do understand why someone may say that.
That's a hater take, honestly.
It's just because he had a slow, soulful samples with some variety here and there, and he was rapping sort of still very distinctly through that. I think, I don't know. But
I don't know. I know how Denzel. I love Denzel too, but J. Cole's been doing that forever, and he's been doing it well. So, what are we talking about here? But whatever. I think they're trying to talk about stylistically because like their voice, they're just different stylistically. Like, they don't sound the same. I don't know. But I really enjoyed this album. From when I first heard the single "Walking," when did that come out? Did that come out did that come out this year or like earlier,
Yeah, it was
late last year?
It was like a few weeks ago.
That's crazy. "Walking." Was that the first single? I think that was the first single. When I heard this single, I was extremely impressed from Denzel Curry. And Denzel's a really good artist. But yeah, man, the first time I heard Denzel, I remember he's been around for a long time, dude. Like, it's been almost 10 years. Like, I heard him, he was hanging out with I remember I used to be a big Joey Badass fan. He was like going on tour with Pim and stuff like that, like in 2012, 2013. And this dude is like this street rapper from Miami, talking about busting them guns and all that stuff. And now like his transition to like here, even everything in between that, like Avery, like Zoo, you guys mentioned that one, that's like a loud, crazy album that's really Miami.
Vengeance, that project he had is
Vengeance.
I think it's on either way. Still,
he has a lot. And now to like get here with like Melt Sessions featuring Robert Glasper, the pianist, it's like pretty impressive, So yeah, I'm just really impressed by his growth, and Nnamdi mentioned this is Nnamdi's word, maturity on here. Yeah. Really impressed by Denzel, and I really enjoyed this album. It came across throughout the whole project.
And I do want to say, as we are referencing the fact that this is so notably different, that is intentional. He had an interview where he used to have these alter egos that sort of explained why he was so hype and yelling, because it was a different character. And he said, "I'm not trying to be any of those personalities or any of those people. I'm Denzel. I'm a human being. I have feelings." And this album was supposed to represent him going in a different direction and a very intentional end of an era. So I think that makes sense of the context, because you start with Melt Sessions 1, which is assisted by Robert Glasper, incredibly talented pianist, and I think he's so good by a producer in general. And to me, this immediately represented that turn, because for the first time, it felt like a diary entry, and I don't think I'd seen Denzel Curry get this deep or vulnerable.
Ooh, I like that.
Have him talking about, find that term in my newsletter. Go check that out. 97demo.substack.com.
I like that.
Diary entry. It's like you have him talking about sort of like fallen friendships, and there's a line about how his best friends don't, he doesn't even talk to his so-called best friends anymore. He's talking about the industry challenges, talking about just sort of like how just everything is just sort of difficult. So some of the challenges he's faced over the last couple of years. And I hadn't seen him get that so directly personal in a while. And it was kind of refreshing. It was very refreshing. And I think that sort of it made so much sense that he started with that, because that sort of was the theme of the entire project. Him saying, "No, I'm gonna tell you how it is. We can talk." And I don't think he makes himself look perfect either. I think he also acknowledges some of his flaws a lot as well, but just so sort of insightful and introspective. And that's something that I really, really liked about this project. And I think it was summed up in that song, like, quickly.
Yeah, I mentioned in my little blurb that like it's been so gratifying watching him like grow, and I think this feels like such a good balance between like the hype kind of louder stuff that he used to do and like his goal of like being a little more introspective and quiet. And it was just such a good mix throughout this whole album. And I think like Nnamdi said, it's very summed up well on that first song.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. And I think that's another thing too. When singles are on the album, they work so much better. And Walking even is like hits even more on this album. You know what I'm saying? Like with what he's talking about, like I've been walking through this. Like, oh man, it's
I really like that song a lot.
That's still one of my favorites. But get into like other songs that like album cuts and whatnot. And I think this is all one of our favorites. Troubles. I really
that was another single actually.
That was I don't remember. That's the thing. I didn't hear the single. I didn't hear it when it first came out. I just heard it on the album, and that's another one I really, really enjoyed. And I remember when it first came out, I was like, T-Pain, he could go, man. But T-Pain made it work, man. He made it work.
It's so good.
He made it work, man. And I love. That's another thing about Denzel. Even though these beats are really chill, soulful, heavy on the samples and whatnot. He has that gruff voice, and especially on Trouble, he's like, "I put my niggas in the huddle." It's like I love that. He
energy in his voice.
He's so good, exactly. Like no matter how chill the beat is, there's so much energy in his voice, and he's so gruff with it. And I love him on that song so much. He's so good on there, and that's like the epitome of like him being like just a lot of energy to whatever he's on. I love that. I love that
And
so much.
T-Pain sounds great.
T-Pain sounds good too. Shout out to T-Pain, man. He's been T-Pain's been having a little resurgence in terms of like his personality, coming out. He has a little podcast. Shout out to T-Pain.
He twitched.
I also, before we even get past what song we're talking about next, but I also really like John Wayne. I like the production of that and the way it sounded a lot. And I just like the decisions they made with that. It felt very unique and like a standout on the album in that sense. Like
I like that he called it John Wayne.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I like that they called it John Wayne.
I love Mental too. Kind of
walk around the hood like I'm John Wayne.
Mental's great.
So let's go and talk about the song I know all y'all want to talk about, Ain't No Way, which featured Six Lack or Black, Josiah, Jid, Kitty Cash, Powers Pleasant, and Rico Nasty. So this song is a great song. It's a banger. I don't think anyone can deny that. I think it's a fun probably. Would you say it's like the most high energy this project probably gets?
Yeah, the first half is definitely for sure. I say most high energy, yeah.
And everyone sounds really good. My one slight for this, and I wrote it down, is I don't like Rico Nasty's verse, but that was just, and that's not no hate. Rico Nasty's gotten a lot of praise on. I know.
I was about to say a lot of people. Rico Nasty,
we when we love something, we love it, and we normally don't talk about when we don't. But for me, that was a notable thing. Every time I listened, I felt that was sort of. It just sort of threw me off every time because everyone else just seems so kind of just is different, and it feels like going at it, and Rico sort of gives me like a. It felt like there was like the energy kind of just like I don't know how to describe it. I don't know, because Rico Nasty got energy. It just, for me, that just there was something there that kind of threw me off whenever I would hear her verse.
This is random, but Rico Nasty and Denzel Curry have a song called Art of War together, and it'll make you want to punch a brick wall. Like,
I know, because they've worked well together.
Yeah. I agree with you, Nnamdi. I feel like if we had to like pick like the weak verse, unfortunately, I think it would probably be Rico.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but the thing is, like, that's another thing too. Like,
it's not bad.
Jid, that's the thing. That's what I was gonna say. Jid and Denzel have such incredible verses, like on the second half.
That's really what it is.
Like, that's really what it is. Like, it's like if Rico Nasty's verse was just like a separate song, I think, that was a banger. She had energy. I just think the thing is, like, those second verses from Denzel and Jid are so good.
So good.
I think she was just there for the energy, which is why I was shocked because I don't know how you guys do this. When I first listen to an album, I kind of don't look at the track list. I kind of like just let it go. So like when people pop up, I'm kind of shocked. But when that came on, I was like, oh, okay, this is a good song. And then it switched. I was like, whoa, we're getting on this soulful, just drums, 808 stuff. And man, Jid and Denzel had incredible verses. So Jid, we're waiting for that album, bruv. We're waiting, bruv. But yeah, man, this Denzel's verse is incredible, dude. I love that. And Avery said the line of the album, dude. Like, man,
he has
Avery,
a bar. It says, "Run the jewels because I kill a mic on any LP."
It's
just so good. It's just so good every time you hear it.
Run the jewels because I kill a mic on any LP.
That's incredible, dude. And honestly, I feel like it's just man, I'm surprised nobody's done that before. Somebody's probably has.
Okay, so I want to get back to this because I need to cap off I wasn't hating on Rico. Noah said it way better than I could. It's just that the other verses were so good.
Yeah.
That I think Rico's is just fine. Rico's
is fine. She got energy. Yeah, it's good.
But I think you notice when you have a fine versus like a so good.
Yeah.
On the same song. That's all. Still all love for Rico.
And that's another thing too. When Jid's on a song, he usually like steals the show. I feel like Denzel still had the best.
Denzel kept up.
I feel like Denzel had the best personally because he has the last.
Tough thing to do.
A tough thing to do nowadays, you know what I'm saying? When Jid hops on the song, he has an incredible presence.
Be like, oh, let me.
Well, that's the thing, J. Cole. Exactly. When J. Cole's like, he's like, let me do an extra little thing, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, this song is like, this is the apex for the album for me. That second half is the apex for the album for me. But yeah.
So I mean, what else? I feel like that for me, those were sort of the. I think we've talked about all of my different like highlights I had. I'm trying to go back to the track list to see if there's anything else I want to bring up.
Yeah. Another one I enjoyed. I'm trying to remember. Well, I honestly.
X-Wing was really good.
X-Wing. Yeah,
X-Wing was really good.
I really enjoyed X-Wings a lot too. What was the one that was like a?
And I love that I'm now learning all these rappers watching WWE just like me, because it was like a solid 6 years where kids were getting clowned for watching WWE.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
All these rappers we be having wrestling bars. In X-Wing, he references Rey Mysterio. Griselda has like 10 different songs with WWE references.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I'm glad we was out
It's
here.
back now. It's back now. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, also love the Star Wars reference.
Yeah, Star Wars reference for sure. I mean, Denzel's a nerd, which is awesome. But yeah, man, I don't know. And I love the close of the closing of the album, The Ills. I think that's properly named. Yeah, man, Denzel's personal on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, I don't know. He's just really on his storytelling, really personal, talking about like what he grew up on, which he's done before, obviously in different ways. But I don't know, man. Just behind this different production is really, I don't know, man. It's easier to understand what's going on because when you're just hype all the time, you can kind of get lost in like just being hype. But he's really intentional on what he's saying on here, and I enjoyed it. And this is one of Denzel's best projects, man. I've always been I've always messed with Denzel, but this is like one of my favorite projects for him in the last couple of years. So yeah, shout out to Denzel, man, with a good project. Really happy for him.
Yeah, so I guess let's go ahead and turn to scores then. So I gave this one a 7 out of 10 just because I thought it was strong, but my one note was I think at a certain point the album's lo-fi soulful production does start to feel a little redundant for me. I get that may not be everyone, and it's the same critique I think J. Cole gets a lot of times, like a For Your Eyes Only, which is something that comes to mind. Like, he did it well, but at a certain point it does start to feel a little bit kind of like,
samey.
And that's what made me go ahead and give it a 7.
Yeah, I gave it 8 out of 10. I agree with Nnamdi. Like, some of the slower cuts do feel like they get a little repetitive, so that's why I kind of probably docked those couple points. But the songs I like on here I really love, and I cannot wait to like go back and keep re-listening to it. So
yeah, I think that's a fair criticism too, but I don't know, I feel like Denzel's voice and his delivery is so much more, like, for example, we talked about Vince Staples before the pod. Like, Vince Staples is really chill and he has chill beats. It's gonna be a chill song. Denzel's gonna have chill beats, but his voice is so, and I go back to Troubles, his delivery so gruff and aggressive, and it makes up for me in terms of energy. But I'm with Avery, 8 out of 10. Really good album from Denzel.
Beautiful. Now next on our list is so our podcast tour was a 7.6 out of 10, which I think I like that. I think that's fitting for this.
That's fair.
So our next project now. Why did I think Nigo was next? Okay, so we have
whichever one we want to do.
Let's talk about Charli. I'm interested. I'm really actually interested to talk about this.
Let's talk about Charli. So Charli XCX, it's fine. Charli XCX.
How do you feel?
She released. I feel like I always try to challenge myself to knowing like where an album is and an artist is.
This is her seventh album.
7?
Yeah.
Wow. 7?
Yeah,
that's a lot. Yo, these artists are dropping so many albums now. It's
her
ridiculous.
7th album?
Yeah, her first album came out in 2013.
How old is Charli XCX, dude?
So I'm seeing 5. This is the fifth. Either way, this is a lot of them. 5 studio albums, 4 mixtapes, and 3 EPs. People, what are you gonna be doing? Wow, I didn't realize
it says fifth. It says 5th studio album on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
That's incredible though. I didn't realize she'd released so much. But either way, this is she released her 5th studio album, Crash, which was, I think, very notable. When I found this out, it did change my perception of things. It's her last album under contract with Atlantic. This is the one to get out of the deal. And when I found that out, I was like, a lot of this makes sense now. But I'm going to say Crash is very much so a commercial, like a bubble pop, dance pop commercial album. I think for me, it's the poppiest. I haven't kept up with Charli intently, but it took me straight back to Boom Clap to the Sound of My Heart when the beat goes na 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 na. You remember that song? Remember that? That's where this took me back. And even that feels less pop than this was.
This is pop to the
Avery, as someone who's kept up with her a little bit more, I'm interested to see how you feel this fits in her catalog in that sense.
Yeah, I always think that Charli XCX had like a reverse trajectory. Well, I thought that up until now. Like, she had like she started like just in like incredibly mainstream and like had these like very palatable radio hits, and like she was doing Iggy Azalea features, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
And as like her career grew on, like probably around like 2016 with like when Vroom Vroom came out and Pop 2, like she started going to this more niche like hyper pop direction, and she started kind of like doing her own thing, and I thought that was so interesting. And so like the last 4 albums before this were just so good, and she was doing all these really cool things that you wouldn't really expect from like a mainstream pop star. And so that all being said, I found this album really disappointing because it's just like she went right back, and I just like why, just like why.
Honestly, y'all gonna laugh at me. This just registered with me. That fancy song from Iggy Azalea that came out forever ago. That just registered that was Charli XCX.
Yeah, it's her.
Like yeah, that's I remember why she's had a number one. That she gets to say that. I love it.
That's great. That's crazy. But yeah, go ahead, Nnamdi.
Wait, no, I don't. Did you have you given intro thoughts yet?
No, I haven't. Yeah, man, Charli XCX. My introduction was 2 years ago. How I'm Feeling. Avery loves that album. Me and Nnamdi famously do not understand the album at all. but I do respect the emotion that came across on that album, because obviously that was a pandemic album, one of the best like of doing like the pandemic type theme without being super forceful with it. You know, shout out to the baby. No, actually not shout out, but this one, and maybe this is unfair, I was just like a little disappointed, Avery, in the same sense. Like, I don't know, man. I kind of expected something super unique in the way she was going to be delivering or the concept of this album. And it's really just like some pop songs, which is fine. It's not bad. The songs are not bad. That's the thing. The songs are not bad. I don't think I hear this and I'm like, man, this is bad music.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just like, you know, and maybe this is unfair. I'll take it if it's unfair. But maybe just from How I'm Feeling and just like the creativity that went into that and the uniqueness that was into that was not given to this album. And maybe that's unfair. Maybe that's just a testament to how good she is and how big our expectations are. But I just didn't get that on this album, which, you know, kind of was unfortunate.
I think less so than I didn't understand the last project. I think for me, it was the introduction to hyperpop, which I just hadn't listened to that intently before. And after a while, respected her for sort of like being an artist with a big enough name that I recognized, who was sort of pursuing this niche style that other people had done, but introducing, I think, a wider audience to it. So I think in my brain, it sort of made me associate Charli with like that added creativity and sort of being the pop girl who's different sort of thing. And this just was a mainstream release. And I, you know, that alone isn't what I fault her for, but we'll get into that later. I think let's get into the actual music for a second. This first song you hear is Crash, and I think that sort of sums up the feel of the album. It's a very, very 2010s pop album. I think you, from start to finish, you sort of get that. I think there's some songs that sort of give you a more modern twist, a little bit more easier. But for me, the first Crash, New Shapes, Good Ones, those first 3 could all have been from like a Katy Perry album in 2014, or like a Pink album in 2015, or like a Ariana Grande album in 2013. Like, you know, I think that was something that I couldn't escape throughout the project, that all this felt familiar. Nothing really felt that new. And yeah, I think those 3 songs that kind of get that. Beg for You, Rina Sawayama, I do as well. I don't want to say that for all the albums. I do think, again, some of the songs I really do like. So Lightning, I think, is the best song on here. And I don't know.
That's my least favorite song.
Wow. Talk about it.
The first song after my first listen that I saved was Lightning. It's just kind of like 80s pop sound. It still feels fairly commercial, but I do think it felt a little bit it just sounded good. I think it sounded good enough to make up for the fact that it was kind of redundant in its feel. I like the hook a lot. Y'all know I have an infatuation with Lightning in my personal life, so I was here for it. And that for me is one that I really enjoy. But Avery, you didn't like it. I want to hear why.
I just think that like a lot of pop stars are doing an 80s sound right now, and to really sell it, you have to do something new. Like, I think what The Weeknd is doing is kind of cool. What Dua Lipa was doing is really interesting. And I just don't think this is there at all. Yeah. Like, I just think this is just like generic 80s pop trying to sell.
You think this felt like a reach? Does it feel like a reach?
Not as a reach. It's just, I guess redundant. Redundant is a good word. It just, I don't know.
Okay, good word.
It didn't add anything to what was already around. Not just by her, but like by other pop artists right now.
Yeah.
So
you're not talking about just you're talking about like the overall trend of doing that.
The overall trend, the overall trend of 80s sound.
And she's just
pop music right now.
She hopped on a trend, but I think this whole
trend,
album could be described as like her hopping on a trend a little bit too late.
Yeah,
that to me is how I would define the entire project. And I hate that this is sounding so negative. I'm trying to find some good, but it really just was like.
That's the thing.
Some songs on here.
The songs, like, honestly, the thing is, the songs don't sound bad. I don't listen to this and be like, man, all this is just like, there's not like, honestly, there's not a lot of like just bad. This sounds bad, but it's just like something that just doesn't sound. I don't know, man. It just doesn't sound different. Like this could have been. If you put another name on this, you would have been like, oh, that's from her. Okay, whatever. Like, oh, I'm not gonna say that, but I don't know, man. It's just from Charli XCX. I don't know, man. Maybe we just have higher expectations, and
I think it's also the fact that like if you know like Charli XCX, even before she like blew up with Fancy, she's been a writer. She was first a songwriter for a very long time. Even on this, she wrote every single song, or at least co-wrote every single
impressive
song. So I know that. I mean, I know that not all these are new. Like, I know some of these have to have been old songs that she'd written. Maybe we're sitting and she was like, oh, this is my last contract. I'm going to, let's throw it on. I don't know for a fact, but I really suspect that's probably the case for some of these songs.
I'm glad you gave us that context, too, about this is her last album on
Atlantic. Because then you could say, well, is this to someone who's trying to say, which we've seen before, I'm really just trying to, let's wrap up this contract. Here you go. Yeah. Here's your 12 to 15 songs. Let's keep it pushing. Again, I don't know that for a fact. But I do think that could explain why some of these songs from an artist who I know knows better, from an artist who I know knows how to write pop music and write experimental pop music and creative pop music, it does make you think, why, how was this the final result? Like, I mean, it's not someone who the labels give you writers, the labels is sort of this manufactured act. Charli XCX is very much so a very, I think, forward-thinking creative. I think that's why this backward-looking album just felt so like, it threw me off so much.
Yeah. Despite all that, I still do enjoy Beg For You featuring Reina Sawayama.
Yeah, I love that song.
Yeah, let's talk about the songs you like. Let's do that, please.
I really do like Beg For You. That's a really good one. That might be my favorite track on the whole project. Good Ones is good too. I say the first half is definitely the best half for me. I don't know. The first half is just stronger. Yeah, man. I really do.
She nails the pop song. She knows how to do a pop song, so nothing sounds bad.
Beg For You is like a really solid song. Like, I really enjoyed that. I was like, wow, this is good.
Reina Sawayama is amazing.
And she sounds great on there too. Exactly. Reina Sawayama sounds great. I mean, it just wasn't enough things that stood out for me.
I think my favorite pop song is Good Ones.
Good Ones, that's a good one too.
I think I like Good Ones a lot. That's the one that I'm like, even though I heard this before, I want to hear it again. Like, I like Good Ones a lot. And again, I think the first half's super strong in that song. Yuck, I also like Yuck.
That's my favorite song of the album.
Yuck is good. Yuck is good too.
Yeah,
Yuck is Constant Repeat might end up being two of my favorite pop songs at the end of the year.
It's a solid project. Like, if it's just a solid, like, oh, this okay, but like, I don't know, man. She could have, and that's actually on Genius. You could see the quote. It says like, this album's gonna be super pop-tastic or something like that. It's gonna be pop all the way, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know, man. I
guess she accomplished that goal then.
And I do think another interesting thing is she was recording for this album. It says here in 2020, and the pandemic delayed it, and she spontaneously decided to start working on How I'm Feeling Now. So I do wonder if that could explain why some of this does feel a little older, because I'm sure some of these songs, and then if you're starting to record in 2020, some of these may have been written in 2018, so it's like, I think that added context sort of helps. Either way, I think the primary thing you're hearing from us is this is a solid pop album from someone who knows how to write and create pop music. She knows how to nail a pop song, like a pop sound down. If the goal is a pop-tastic album, and she gave us a very pop-tastic album, I think it is felt off coming from an artist who tends to be so forward-thinking. And I think that's why, score-wise, I want to say I gave it a 6, maybe, honestly.
You gave it a 6. You gave it a 6.
Yeah. My last line felt harsh, but I said I want to see Charli XCX on the forefront of the impending pop wave, not at its tail picking up scraps.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the same boat. I gave it a 6.5. To me, this just sounds like the music that she was making before she decided to start, in my opinion, becoming a more interesting artist.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that I prefer her, Vroom Vroom and like How I'm Feeling Now over Crash. And I said this just feels like a palatable gateway to some of her more interesting music. So just considering who it's by, it's just disappointing, I guess.
Yeah, and Nnamdi, I'm glad you gave that context because it's tough. Like on this end, it's tough to be working on an album. You wrote it, pandemic. You work on another project, then to come back and try to get in that feeling again. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you guys. 6 is kind of 6.5 is where I'm at. But yeah,
so
man.
I want to say that I made our score a 6.2, a 6.2 out of 10. And I do want to say on the other side of this whole Charli XCX debate about this feeling too commercial and mainstream, it's her most commercially successful album to date. It debuted at number 1 on the UK albums chart, her first album to do so. Debuted at number 1 in Ireland, debuted at number 1 in Australia, debuted at number 1 in Scotland, her first number 1 in all of these regions, or most of them.
Maybe it's doing what it's supposed to do.
In the US, it debuted at number 7 with 31,000 sold, which I want to say is her highest charting album to date, and her first top 10. So I think that's one of those things where you have to consider the business of this industry as well. And I'm sure that was part of her calculus too. Like, last contract, I need to give them a commercial friendly, maybe hit album. And it's her most successful album yet.
This album is catchy. It's catchy.
It's easy to listen to for sure. So.
It's easy to listen to, easy to get into. You could give it to any, like last album, How I'm Feeling. I don't know how I would give that to. I don't know how I would recommend that to. But like this one, that's like, hey girl, you want a pop album? Oh yeah, listen to this.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. I just saw this from The Guardian's Alex Petrides, so I think I agree with. Not only, well, this kind of mean. He says not only does Crash not work, or at least not entirely, it leaves you wondering about its author's motivations. For all the messaging around it sometimes feel less like a smart concept than a shrug. The work of an artist seeing out a fraught 5-album major label deal with a half-hearted whatever. If there's a saving grace here, it's that the mercurial XCX, now a free agent, will doubtlessly return with something more interesting sooner rather than later. I agree with all of that.
I guess that is like kind of the solace that I feel like whatever she puts out next will be super interesting. I hope.
Yes.
That is harsh,
that should
but
probably
that's
be how it goes. So maybe just show us something independently, which would be amazing. So.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, I was like, well, she just goes independent. She feels like that kind of artist anyway.
I agree.
Like the fact that she's like popular like this, like the fact that she was on Fancy kind of blew my mind because I didn't even register with me, but like,
yeah, she has such a unique position,
Yeah, dude. Like she could really be in like a, maybe this is a bad, but like Mac Miller, he was like the independent guy that was like popular enough. Like I don't know, man, or maybe like a Chance. Obviously, she's better than Chance. Sorry, Chance, but I don't know. She's in a unique position to be like do her own thing and still be just as popular as she was.
Or maybe get a record deal that gives her more creative freedom.
Yeah, maybe that too. That too.
Yeah. But okay, so that was Charli XCX's Crash. Our last album we're going to be talking about is I Know Nigo by Nigo.
Nigo.
I Know Nigo by Nigo.
I know he was thinking about it the whole time. He was like,
I panic every time I say this man's name because I just, from the English language grammar we're taught, it's Nigo because of the O at the end, but this also is in an American name. So I need to not be ignorant of Nigo. Okay, so Nigo, who is a Japanese fashion designer, hip hop head, DJ, put out, I want to say his second.
The first project was like a bunch of instrumentals. So like,
no, there was we checked this. There was some rapping on that too.
Yeah,
it wasn't all.
Honestly, sounded like rock, kind of rock-ish.
Yeah, there was vocals on it because I remember the last time we talked about it, I didn't remember, so I went back and listened to some of them. But it wasn't like what I feel like is a tour de force of hip hop's like biggest like acts, current biggest acts over the course of like 12 songs. I want to say this was interesting because for someone who's maybe young, and this may speak to our age and ignorance, it was sort of like, who is Nigo? Why does he have all this juice? Nigo, and why does he have all this juice to get on his album? And then once you figure out that he apparently was the fashion guy for a lot of these artists, and it still is, it makes so much more sense. So what did you guys think of this project? It starts with, I think the stars of it are A$AP Rocky and Tyler, the Creator, each of who appear on 2 songs. What were your thoughts?
I said this in my newsletter. I think people's expectations of compilations are always bigger than they should be. Because like over the course of history, people have been like releasing compilations albums and be like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be the best thing ever. All these amazing artists, and it rarely lives up to that. Like Dreamville obviously was like maybe one of the best case scenarios because that was really good, but like more times than not, compilations are not as good as people expect them to be. And I think this one was a solid, entry in terms of compilations, because usually compilations are like 18 tracks, they're really long. This was a nice 12 tracks, which I'm happy about, because sometimes, like, even though with Dreamville, because we're familiar with a lot of those artists, that was a lot of music to digest, and you could get lost in like who's on what, who's on, who's here. This one's 12 tracks. There's not a lot of artists compared to like some of those other albums. And I thought this was really, really solid. That got better over time. I think my first listen, I was like, man, those first 3 tracks, Lost and Found Freestyle, Aria, and Punch Bowl, really, really strong. And then the middle entries, I kind of got lost with. And then it's like, Come On, Let's Go, which is a song that's like the biggest song from here that people enjoy the most, I would think, because it's just Tyler doing his thing. Go ahead.
No, finish that thought.
Yeah, but I was saying, like, after multiple listens, I enjoyed, some of the songs I enjoyed even more, like More Tonight. That's a banger, dude. Teriyaki Boys. That's a banger.
Which is Nigo's group.
Yeah, exactly. That was a good one. I really enjoyed that a lot. Hear Me Clearly too. I'm sorry, that was a really good one too. But yeah, man, even Paper Plates I enjoyed too. But yeah, man, like it just got better with each listen. And Functional Addict I thought was really solid too. But because that was actually, and somebody else said this in one of their newsletters. That's one of Gunna's like better features that he's had.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was really, really solid. You know what I'm saying? I didn't expect like some concept or something deep. It's just some good songs with some good artists, and I enjoyed it.
I feel like thinking of this as a compilation album, I guess it's technically right, but different for me, because I feel a lot of the albums you're talking about are like labels. So it's like,
fair.
I don't know. I think the motivations are different, and that could speak to why they tend to be longer and have a whole bunch of people, and they're always disjointed.
That's a good point.
This is was made for the specific purpose of what I think was. I mean, he previewed 10 of them during his fashion show when he was reviewing his autumn winter collection. So it felt. I think that's why sonically, honestly, I don't think it felt like disjointed that much. Actually, that's one of the things I kind of give it my hat off to it for. Like, this felt like it could have actually been an album, and I wouldn't feel like this is like a random playlist of songs. I think
that's fair. That
makes sense. Like, I think, like, for instance, going from like Lost and Found Freestyle to Aria, I think like to Punch Bowl, and then sort of the next chapter of the album with Functional Addict and Want It Bad, and then More Tonight. Like, I think those were all very intentional sonic decisions, because those first 3 are very, very like rap. The next 3 are kind of like poppy. So those are all things that I kind of noticed, and I really liked. Functional Addicts is actually one of my favorite songs on here. I really liked it. I was very impressed by Pharrell, again, has been killing his features lately, but Gunna, based on our intro, you can imagine I don't always love his features, and I think this was one that he actually did perform really well on. The only song that I really just didn't like was Want It Bad, which I hate because I love Kid Cudi, but the problem is it just felt so like old Kid Cudi. That could have been on like one of the Man on the Moons, like that. It just did not feel.
That's an old song.
Yeah, like it just did not feel like this was really being made in 2022. And if Kid Cudi is still making music like this in 2022, we don't need an album of this. Like, it's time to, buddy. It's time to get a new signature style. I love you. It's time to get a new signature style. I go hard for Kid Cudi. I was a fan of Passion, Pain, and Demon Slam, and everybody else hated it.
You do go hard for that.
I even liked it when he made that rock turn, his folk rock turn. But I was there for all of that, because at least he was experimenting and being different. Yeah. This is old. This is 2009.
Yeah,
I agree. 2009. So that was like my one real beef. And of course, y'all know I wasn't feeling Remember, which I hate. It doesn't. For the Pop Smoke,
we all feel the same way.
But for the Pop Smoke posthumous tracks, Remember actually isn't the worst. I think it sounds good. My beef is just that it's unnecessary. Like, what was Nigo's connection to Pop Smoke? Like, what makes this genuine? What makes this anything other than like, oh, let's get Pop Smoke on it because we want a drill song. And I think if that's unless there's something I don't know, in which I'll eat my words, it just feels like cheap at this point.
It's just annoying. Agree. It's just annoying.
It's annoying at this point. I agree. Like,
I don't see Pop Smoke on an album now and get like, it's just like, I kind of dread getting to that song. It's just like I don't know.
I don't know, man. I feel like his manager, the guy Victor, what's his name? Crap, Victor Stone. I don't remember. Victor, whatever his name is. I forgot his name. The manager. He was manager of Pop Smoke. He needs to just cut it off, dude. Like, it's getting weird at this point. Like, I said this in the newsletter too. It's not even clear if he was like cool with Nigo. Like, I didn't see them hanging out. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it just like I don't see Pop Smoke. I didn't see Pop Smoke hanging out with Pharrell and ASAP and Tyler and those guys. And like, it just didn't even feel like he was a part of this group other than Victor was his I'm sorry that his name is slipping my mind, but that he was in part of this little clique or whatever. But I'm with you, Nnamdi, all the way. It's just weird at this point. I don't think he should have been on here at all. The song's not bad, but like, it just to me it's in bad taste.
Not to mention, I think Heavy, which has Lil Uzi Vert and is also a drill song, was a good drill song. Y'all could have just did that.
Honestly, it grew on me a little bit more. It grew on me more. We really weren't feeling that song when it first came out. But
hey,
I wasn't. You're right. That's right. I wasn't. I was like, it's not all that for me. But it grew on me. But yeah, man. I don't know. Like the reason I feel like this is a compilation, it's like a compilation. Even though I feel like sonically, I feel like they were really intentional with the artists they got, with the kind of sound they do. Because even though "Come On, Let's Go," it's just a song with Tyler. And if you go on his YouTube, it's on his thing. It's not like, oh, Nigo, Tyler. It's just like Tyler. Come on, let's go. It feels like just a Tyler song they just put on here, honestly. And it's like Nigo is like a part of it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it feels
more
like.
More of that, please.
Avery said, please, give me that.
Give me
that, please. But another song, I did want to mention, Avery, you said you didn't like this song earlier, Punch Bowl. You said that song had to grow on you.
Nigo, I think, did he own Bape at one point?
Yeah, he's a creator of Bape. He's a creator of Bape. He's a creator of Bathing Ape.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, exactly. He's a creator of Bathing Ape. That's why him and Pharrell were cool with like all the ice cream stuff and all that stuff. Billionaire Boys Club. Yeah, I really enjoyed that song. The clips really did their thing. And that's another person. I think Pusha T did his thing on this with Punch Bowl and Hear Me Clearly. I think those are really, really good songs.
No Malice as well.
No Malice, not
Malice. No Malice.
Honestly, that's hilarious. Honestly.
And wait, can I quickly shout out Nigo? Nigo, I do want to point out he's not a DJ Khaled here. Apparently, he does produce. So he did production on a lot of these, and I just think that's an important thing to flag.
You know what I love?
Anybody with money can make an album. You gotta clarify when they're actually involved.
You know what I love? Everybody doing the DJ Khaled type thing better. Like DJ Drama is like better than him because he has a series of like Gangsta Girls mixtapes, and Nigo's actually doing production. DJ Khaled's like, yeah, I just talk.
I'm not gonna fire shots at my guy DJ. He is the Drake of doing this. So let's
You said the Drake?
He's the Drake of the compilation album.
The compilation album. Oh yeah, for sure. He's
the commercial king. He's the one who gets the number one. So I'm gonna put some respect on his name.
I have respect for DJ Khaled since he said Tyler was weird, and then Tyler blew his ass out in the first week. Remember that?
I remember that. Yeah.
that was a great moment. That was a great moment. He was mad. He was like, this weird music, get it out of my face. He didn't blow him out, but it was funny. It was funny though, because he was like, "Man, I'm about to kill him in the first week sales."
But the problem is, DJ Khaled has started thinking that formula would work, and he get whatever big name artist, and that'll give him a number one, and that's
it don't work no more
because it got repetitive. So shout out to Nigo for at least keeping it fresh. Nice. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Nigo, so, you got it, man. You got it.
I feel like we hit on all the songs. You want to get to scores?
Yeah.
So what did I actually don't now upon this? I think I may have went too low on this.
You went the highest, bro.
No, I feel okay with this. I gave it a 7.5. And one, I started with the Pop Smoke thing. That Pop Smoke inclusion is going to get you a ding from me, especially if it doesn't feel genuine. Because at this point, you just need to let the man rest. It's too much. It feels weird. It feels like you're not just extending his legacy, but that you're sort of just like exploiting it for the sake of extra.
Be really intentional with the features he's on. Like make it has to be exactly right.
And this just doesn't feel like that. This again, it felt cheap. I liked a lot of the features. I think most people did a very good job. I think ultimately the reason why I gave it a couple dings is because I have to ask, is this something that I see being super duper memorable? And that I'm gonna find myself coming back to as the year goes on. Not really. I'm not sure that's what Nigo set out to do though. So I will give him that, that point. But I do think it's a very fun listen. So I went with the 7.5.
Yeah, I gave it a 7. I think this album's just it's just super solid. There's some songs I really like. There's some songs I really don't like. Want It Bad and Heavy, I do not like at all. And then obviously, like we said, the Pop Smoke thing is just weird at this point and needs to stop. But Come On Let's Go is like probably my favorite rap song of the year so far. Hear Me Clearly is really good, which I think Kanye produced, and then Aria is really good as well. So it's just
Kanye
it's
produced
just
Hear
really
Me Clearly?
solid. I think Kanye produced Hear Me Clearly.
Wow, that's a great produced track.
So I just like, I don't know, it's just super solid. I think there's Come On Let's Go I just love a lot. So that's, if there's one song I'm gonna remember by December, it's that one. So I
yeah, man, this album's really, really solid. Yeah, man, going to the pop-up was fun. That was super.
Did do that.
Super cool. We went to the pop-up. That was cool. Great memories. Great little art thing that was going on there. Super dope stuff. But yeah, I'm with you, Avery. 7. The songs I don't like, I'm just not gonna go back to. Like, honestly, I said Heavy Grow Me. I'm not gonna go back to that. Remember, I'm not gonna go back to. And When It Bad, I'm not gonna go back to. So, but everything else, like, Come On, Let's Go. I'm gonna go back to that. Hear Me Clearly. I enjoy that. The opening track I love, Aria. That might be my favorite still. Yeah. Because I just love A$AP's energy on there, and the pianos on there sound great. So 7 out of 10 feels just about right. And yeah.
Cool. It's a collective 7.2 from the 97 demo.
Which feels right. I think at the end of the day, I like all of our scores.
I do too.
Go around. And I love when we get to do this our roundup episodes, because it's just a fun way to touch on 4 albums that we all like. At the end of the day, because I do think we only review albums that we like in some capacity.
I agree.
Albeit we give it notes. So that was our March review roundup. Hope you like it. Give us your thoughts. And again, if you want to read it, check us out at the 97demo.substack.com. So on to industry highlights. A couple of things we can talk about on the Hot 100. Big Lotto, who we didn't review her album, which 777 I want to say it was called. We didn't review that, but that was also a March release that got a lot of love. But her song Big Energy has jumped to number 3. That's her highest charting song. It of course is the song that flips Mariah Carey's Fantasy. I think they put out a remix, which may have been why this kind of bumped up so much, with Lotto and Mariah Carey. So top 3, I'm hoping she gets number 1, because that I think is a very good achievement for her, and it's a catchy song. They played it at the game yesterday, Avery. You know,
Lotto out in New York. Oh, okay, girl, do your thing.
Yeah. Other than that, the chart I feel hasn't really changed that much. The songs that are big are still big. The Weeknd, I'm happy to report, is still here with Save Your Tears at number 17. That's still making
great
it.
Song.
It is moving higher with Enemy. His song with Imagine Dragons now at number 5. I would love.
Oh wait, Jid
at number 1. I would.
Oh, that's so dope.
Want to know? Would be crazy. There's a world here where Jid could get a number 1 with that song before J. Cole's got a number 1.
Oh.
Not comparing, just saying that's interesting.
Jid.
You guys listen to this song?
Which one?
Enemy.
Yeah.
You don't like it?
You
don't like it?
I like when Jid goes rock. Avery, you
Say
don't
it,
like
Avery.
it? Go ahead.
No, I don't like it. But I'm happy for Jid.
I'm happy for Jid. Honestly, like, I know this song's not for me, but I'm really happy for Jid that he's doing his thing, and he's getting some. Imagine Dragons tends to do that.
It's funny that they're the band that rappers kind of.
That's the band that rappers like. Oh man, we're
like
going
Kendrick
hard on
Lamar
that.
had one.
Well, he has that iconic Grammy performance.
Yeah, which is actually really good. So
that's iconic. Yeah, that's
Imagine
honestly.
Kendrick Lamar gave us that performance, and Future and Gunna was out here just doing half of a 2-step to push it.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, though. That's like the best case scenario. Avery, would you agree of rap? Imagine rapper.
See, that's
Dragons.
the thing though, is that performance is really good, and then they came out with like a recorded song that was not good.
Oh, it wasn't.
So the live performance was because it was great. And then
because it was more Kendrick. It was just more Kendrick
released,
just doing his thing. It was more Kendrick just doing his thing, honestly.
No, hey, look, Imagine Dragons, fine, whatever, cool.
You're not a big fan. Not a big fan.
Their music's kind of generic for me, but
wow.
Hey, if people like them, I've seen them live. Like I've given them my money,
wow, that's tough.
It's fine. They're fine.
Avery, tough to the Russian
Avery
judge.
said I've seen them live, but I'm still going to diss them.
Avery is the Russian judge.
Hey, look, they have a song called Amsterdam that I love. If I have to give
one song, you like one song out of the millions of songs they put out. Wow, awesome. Russian judge over here, Avery.
So I guess other thing I want to flag isn't on this chart, but according to Hip Hop by the Numbers,
yeah,
I think that's that account. Jack Harlow with First Class earned the second biggest spot. Okay, so I fact checked this. They said it was the second biggest Spotify opening ever, with 10.4 million streams in 24 hours. I knew that was off because Butter by BTS, I want to say, did like 11 million. And then I Don't Care, Justin Bieber and Ed Sheeran also did like 10.7 or something. So I think it's the highest opening for a rap song, the third generally. Still very impressive for a song that I've seen kind of mixed reactions to on Twitter. So I guess this is, what do y'all make of that?
Jack Harlow has a lot of energy, a lot of charisma. He's a funny guy. He's a good-looking dude. I get it. You know, he has a lot of swag, a lot of personality. He's feeling himself. And, you know, I saw a lot of people on TikTok, especially people like, man, this thing is garbage. I saw a particular TikTok that said it was bad. But Jack Harlow makes hits, man. Dude has swag. Like, people just want to hate on him. Like, remember when the album cover came out? And people, the last one, and it was like, they saw the black leg. And people was like, I want to be mad, but I can't. You know what I'm saying? Dude's just doing his thing, living life. And I respect him for that. So... Good job, Jack Harlow.
He can promo the hell out of a song. And my thing is like,
just don't ruin White Man Can't Jump.
No, for real. No, like I think like Jack Harlow's a fine artist. Like he's
fine. He's
two
fine.
really great songs, and like one of them he's featured on.
Nail Tech is good. Nail Tech is a banger, dude.
Nail Tech's good. Nail Tech is a banger, people have such high expectations for Jack Harlow, and I have to imagine it's because of how well he promos his stuff and how. Like, he knows how to harness the hype around him.
Dude, everybody can't be Drake where, like, we have these expectations of him as an artist and as a pop star. Like,
yeah.
Well, I don't even think we're doing that. Drake is such a threat. I think it's...
I agree.
Finish your thought.
I was going to say is, like, Drake has the incredible of, like... we get like, remember our last time, we got disappointed in him because we think he has so much potential as like an artist because he takes chances even though he misses, like he takes chances with his sound, and he's proven it to us. I think we have this unrealistic expectation of like these dudes have to be these incredible artists that we haven't heard before type thing, and that's just not true. Jack Harlow's just he's not an incredible, like I mentioned, he's not like a next level Jid where like he's this rising pop star and rapper in like terms of lyricism. Jack Harlow can rap well. He's like
Jack Harlow.
I'm trying to think.
He is good.
Jack Harlow's good. He's good.
Yeah,
he
I'm like,
well.
this sounds like we're underselling Jack Harlow.
No, Jack Harlow is just
he's fine. He's good. He's good. He's just good.
But my thing is, y'all say this isn't to me. This isn't our expectations are too high. No, I think we expect good music. That's it. That's the only. I'm not looking at Jack Harlow to be Drake. I'm not looking at Jack Harlow to be J. Cole.
But people don't like this song though. But people think this is trash.
All these people think First Class is trash. I haven't seen anyone say it's trash. I've heard people that say that it's not it. I think me personally, I would point to this song as like an example of like why I think Jack Harlow is probably going to make it, and he's talented because I think it requires an ear to flip a sample like this. I think
this next album better perform well. Ooh.
I think it's an interesting flip of Glamorous by Fergie. I don't think it sounded repetitive. I think it's catchy and it has a hook, and I think he has a bass.
Great.
So I think Jack Harlow probably gets hate because at the end of the day, he's a white rapper making it right now and doing really well.
Could you guys see me and Jack Harlow being nominated for Best Rap Album?
Yeah. Why wouldn't? Like if he comes out with a good one, yeah. I
forgot Cardi B. I forgot Cardi B has almost won. I thought she was gonna win that 1 year, but
she did win.
She did win? Oh crap, that happened.
Invasion of privacy. Wow.
Nnamdi's not happy because wasn't J. Cole nominated that year?
But my thing is, even with that, I mean, half of the songs from that album went to number one. It's like I acknowledge, even though like it wasn't my pick, I acknowledge that like that's a fair win. And I think it's the same thing with Jack Harlow. It's like all I want from someone is to put out a song that doesn't sound like the same thing I've heard from everybody else and sounds different. And I think if you can get that done, it's cool.
Jack Harlow got swag, man. That man got style.
Man. Not to mention, I will always give him points for being one of the only new rap artists, or just rap artists generally, to not care about Lil Nas X being gay, or at least not secure enough in their masculinity to do a performance on the stage or be in a video and wearing a pink jumpsuit and care about it. Like just have it like that requires, and that's why people don't understand why these women these girls be so thirsty. These women, excuse me, be so thirsty for Jack Harlow is because people see like that.
He has a great voice.
You're securing yourself. You ain't insecure. It's the people I'm worried about are the ones who are out here who get pressed easily about why is that man dancing like that? I don't like that no more. I want to see it. It's like, why do you care so much about
Jack Harlow got swag, man. He has a great voice. He's funny as hell with Drewski. Him and Drewski are funny as hell when they do their interviews.
Segments. Him and Doja, personality matters a lot in the TikTok era, and I think they both have nailed like their
absolutely. He's killing it on TikTok too.
He has a TikTok. Should I follow him? Should we follow him?
I'm sure TikTok's part of the reason the song is doing so well. But let's put a lot on Jack Harlow.
We spent a lot of time on this.
on the Billboard 200, just to round up some of the albums you talked about. I know Nigo by Nigo debuted at number 13, which I thought was pretty good for him. Mainstream Sellout by Machine Gun Kelly debuted at number 1. And the week that just ended, by the way, Mainstream Sellout debuted at number 1. You also have, like I said, Nigo at 13, Nigo at 13, Lotto at 15 with around 24,000 sold. So I think very good for Lotto. You have Denzel album at number 51.
Oh damn!
Number 51. Foo Fighters at 18.
I think that's good. Is Denzel signed? Is he independent? What is he? What is he? What's his deal?
I'm not sure.
That's interesting.
That's where he was. I will say the Foo Fighters, the Iron Light of, I think, the passing of Taylor Hawkins, their greatest hits album is, what was that, 18? You said, Avery?
Yes.
Yeah, 18.
Was that the one, Avery? That was the same one you had a couple weeks ago, right?
It bounced from 147.
Dope.
So definitely people listening and sad about that. Next week, apparently the Red Hot Chili Peppers is supposed to debut at number 1 with 83,000, according to Hip Hop or Hits Daily Double. Red Hot Chili Peppers at number 1 with 83,000 sold. D-Day, a Gangsta Grills mixtape featuring Dreamville's. Already guesses at where you think that's going to be.
Oh, I think I saw this. Is it?
Okay, so just whatever.
Between somewhere between 7 and 9, I think.
It's going to be at number 8, expected to have around 32,000 sold. And We Are by John Batiste is not going to debut. It's not true because it debuted before and peaked at number 86, but is expected to re-enter the chart at number 22 after his Grammy Album of the Year win.
Nnamdi, that's your best call of last year. You said this album. You said, guys, do not be surprised when this album wins Album of the Year. Nnamdi called it months ago. He said,
I need to find that clip because I knew from that it's a great album. It really is a really good album.
He called it. He was like, y'all, when it ends, Nnamdi said, don't be shocked. He said it.
Oh, let's talk about Sour. I don't know.
I know. I was in the camp of believe Rodriguez gonna sweep. That's what I
thought. Okay, so projects of the week, people.
You know what? I realized that I haven't had like one of these old like 90s rap albums on here in a while. I think the last one I did was like I don't remember, maybe Wu-Tang a while ago. But yeah, Hard to Earn by Gangstar. It's obviously DJ Premier and crap, I always forget his name. Sorry guys, I forgot the name that this group makes up of. DJ Premier, and Guru, who's now dead. Rest in peace. But yeah, this is one of their best albums. This is like their second best album. Yeah, man, I really love this album a lot. It's DJ Premier. You guys should know who he is. And yeah, it's just really freaking good. A standout song on here with the NBA playoffs coming off is what's the name? Now You're Mine. It's basically like this cool thing where they're talking about basketball and, you know, basically getting a fight, which is really cool. And you guys have probably heard this song like Mass Appeal. That's a really popular thing that people sample. And Code of the Streets, that's been used in like in a bunch of like 90s movies and stuff like that. But yeah, Gangstar, really great album. Hard to Earn is the name of the album, but Gangstar is a group. So yeah, check that out.
My project of the week is Zoo by Denzel Curry. Yeah, just like this was his last album before the one we just talked about. But yeah, it's just a banger of an album. Great.
It's short
album.
too.
Yeah, great gym album. Yeah, it's like 30 minutes. Great. So if you just need someone to hype you up, listen to this album. Specifically, the songs Ricky and Carol Mart are two of my favorites. So.
Listening to Charli XCX's album made me think of my favorite 2010s pop album, which is Born This Way by Lady Gaga. So I'm gonna put some songs on our playlist. Great album.
You and I's on this album, right?
First of all,
I is on that album.
First of all, never mind. I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say we're old, dude. 2010 feels like if you say it to like a 14-year-old, they'll be like, "Dang, you're old."
They're like, "You was alive in 2010."
I was alive in 2010.
I was two.
I was barely even alive.
I know, it's humbling.
Crazy. It's humbling because 2010, you'd be like, man, we're in the 10s. Man, we're old.
But ladies and gents, with that one and maybe an hour, right? Maybe No,
a little over, probably
a little over hour-ish episode. That wraps up this episode of the 97 Demo. Thank you for watching. As always, please like, share, subscribe. Find us on all social platforms at the 97 Demo. We read our Substack, the 97demo.substack.com. And just enjoy your week. Stay positive. Let's stay happy. We're in spring now. Everyone does get positive this week, guys. Get positive.